If you've ever been the person who is usually nervous of asking for help, you'll do it all by yourself, you'll figure it out. It's probably a trauma response called hyperindependence. Now, I am not a therapist. I want to start off by saying that, but I've definitely dealt with this, dealing with this, and overcoming it. And I want to share just parts that could possibly help you. Welcome to the Black Man, Black Health Podcast. I'm your host, Drew Koss. Now, where does this term hyper independence come from? Where do I see it the most? I've seen it the most with black men, and it's not saying that it's not happening with other races or genders. I've seen it the most with black men, and I'm a black man. I believe it comes from childhood. It comes from usually when you reached out to ask for help. It can be from a parent or uncle, aunt, leader, and either you were shut down from that help, you could have been neglected, or rejected. Now, when we think of those things for a long time, no one wants to say like my parent did this to me. No one wants to say that because most of our parents were good parents. Most of our parents were trying to do their best. They had to work, right? I used to always say that my parents had to work. My mom had to work a lot of jobs to take care of us. So there was nothing that could be wrong. That's not saying that your mom's a bad person or something like that. What it's saying is that there was something that got missed along the lines. And what usually happens is, as an adult, you grow up and you don't ask for help. You reject help. If someone asks you, you could be like dying and someone asks you, hey, do you need me to help you with that? And you were like, no, I got it. Because you don't want to face that rejection again. You don't want to be neglected again. If someone just did it and they didn't tell you, cool. But asking for help and the the possibility of getting rejected again is like a no-no for you. How do we get past this? This is something that I've had to start learning. We get past it first by, I'm going to say, recognizing what's happening through a prayer and or a therapist or a friend who may know about this mental health part. I like to say therapist more because a friend may only know how to speak from what they exactly did, and that may not work for you. You may need other tools, you may need other reasonings. For a long time in therapy, it was hard for me to say that some of my trauma came from my mom because my mom was like my hero. So I would put it on everybody else and realize you can say that this happened with your mom and still love her, still honor her. She can still be your hero. We have to also realize that our culture, depending on where we grow up at or how we grow up, especially with black men and black families, sometimes the culture just literally breeds that. Do it yourself. Oh, they drove to college by themselves and put themselves through school. They did all of this by themselves. And as a man, especially a black man, for you to be like, hey, I did this all by myself. We use these terms. I pulled myself up by my own bootstraps. We use the terms that I got it out of the mud. And these are terms that we don't realize that just breeds hyper independence. It doesn't breed you working with people. It doesn't breed you asking for help. It's a Bible verse that helps me also understand this in a way working towards healing. It talks about for when I am weak, then he is strong. It also shows us about, loving your neighbor as yourself. That means there is a communal aspect of us actually healing this and actually realizing that getting help is smart. Getting help is smart. It's not often portrayed as that for black men, but it's smart. And if you're dealing with this as yourself or you're dealing with someone who's like that, realize if an adult is always refusing help and rejecting help, it's not just because they want to, it's a trauma response. I didn't know this was a trauma response. And then when I found out, I was like, I think most of the times when we look at adults who we feel are, I don't want to say messed up at all, not messed up. Look at adults who are facing these type of things and we look like, why didn't we just ask for help? You could have asked me. We don't realize it's a trauma response. So with all of that, I'm always gonna say pray, get therapy, but I wanna just share something that has been helping me that could help you out. With going through therapy and with seeing things that in me that I didn't like, seeing things in me that I wanted to change and needed to change, I would start beating up on myself and I would that would turn into WrestleMania part 2. I had to start realizing that if I don't give myself grace to make these incremental changes, I'm going to start looking at myself as a horrible person. And I'm going to start literally just retreating and isolating from people. Instead, I have to give myself grace in this journey. And a couple ways I started doing that is I started telling myself, Drew, if someone came to you, if a man came to you and he was talking about how he isolates, how he is scared to get rejected and things like that, you wouldn't necessarily just give him a challenge. You would help him nurture what has been happening. And maybe if he was ready, you can give him things slowly that he could start working on. But you wouldn't be like, just take this 5 day challenge and do it. You would give grace. Second thing you would do is you would get around people who are probably healed from this or other men who have overcome it. The reason for that is this is your first chance of asking for help. And you'll realize people want to help. People don't want to see people just struggle. There are a lot of people who want to help. They just sometimes don't feel invited. And they want to know that if they reach out, that you want them there. Number 3, in prayer, I always now talk to God about whatever I feel, even if it's crazy, even if it's wild, even if it's wrong. I just go and I put that out there and I ask him what to do about it. We want to get better with healing in this area because it's going to help us raise the next generation. If we don't, we're going to breed to our children. Don't ask for help. Don't ask for help. Do that. My little daughter's 5. Whenever she can need help opening a Capri Sun, and she's coming to ask me, and she knows how to. But I always want to let her know, hey, you got a home in me. You can do that. And I want to encourage you guys out there, my brothers, anybody who's listening and watching, get the help you need. You deserve it. You deserve to feel what community feels like. You deserve to experience what love feels like with other people. And I'm rooting for you. So get the help you need. I'm out of here, guys.